The year was 1944, and the world was deep in the throes of World War II. The Allied forces had pushed the Axis powers back on multiple fronts, but the enemy was far from defeated. In a remote area known as Red Ridge, a critical stronghold lay in the hands of a formidable German division. The Allied command knew that capturing Red Ridge was essential for the final push into enemy territory. Major Jack Thompson, a seasoned officer in the Army, was chosen to lead a battalion of infantry and armored units in the assault on Red Ridge. His orders were clear: take the ridge at all costs. The mission was perilous, but the stakes were too high to ignore. The ridge was heavily fortified, with machine gun nests, artillery emplacements, and anti-tank defenses. The enemy was well prepared and waiting. As Major Thompson's forces prepared for the attack, they received unexpected support from the Air Force. A squadron of P-47 Thunderbolts, led by Captain Henry Ace Mitchell, was assigned to provide close air support during the assault. The plan was to soften the enemy defenses with airstrikes before the ground forces moved in. At dawn, the assault on Red Ridge began. The roar of P-47 engines filled the air as Captain Mitchell's squadron swooped down on the enemy positions. Bombs and rockets rained down, shattering bunkers and disrupting enemy lines. The air was thick with smoke and the sound of explosions, but the Germans held their ground. Major Thompson gave the order to advance. Tanks rumbled forward, supported by infantry as they charged up the ridge. The battle quickly became a brutal, close-quarters fight. The Germans, entrenched and determined, fought fiercely, inflicting heavy casualties on the advancing Allies. Captain Mitchell's squadron made repeated strafing runs, targeting enemy machine guns and artillery positions. But the ridge was a fortress, and every inch of ground was hard-won. Major Thompson knew they had to break the enemy's resolve or risk being driven back. As the day wore on, the battle reached a critical point. The Allied forces had taken heavy losses, and the enemy was counterattacking with everything they had. Major Thompson and Captain Mitchell knew that the next few hours would determine the outcome of the battle. In a bold move, Captain Mitchell led his squadron on one final, low-level attack run. Flying just above the treetops, the P-47s targeted the remaining enemy strongholds with pinpoint accuracy. The air was filled with the deafening noise of machine guns and cannon fire, but the Thunderbolts pressed on, breaking through the German defenses. On the ground, Major Thompson rallied his men for one last push. Exhausted and battered, the soldiers found renewed strength in the face of adversity. With the enemy positions weakened by the relentless air assault, Thompson's battalion surged forward. Tanks crushed barbed wire and bunkers, while infantry cleared trenches with grenades and bayonets. The fighting was intense and approached the summit of Red Ridge. The Germans began to falter. The combination of air power and ground assault had taken its toll. Major Thompson, leading from the front, inspired his men to give everything they had in the final moments of the battle. By nightfall, Red Ridge was in Allied hands. The cost had been high, with many brave soldiers lost, but the mission was a success. The capture of Red Ridge paved the way for the final Allied advance into enemy territory, hastening the end of the war in Europe. Major Thompson and Captain Mitchell were hailed as heroes. Their courage and leadership had turned the tide of the battle, demonstrating the power of coordinated air and ground operations. The bond formed between the infantry and the pilots during the fierce fighting at Red Ridge became a symbol of the unity and determination of the Allied forces. In the years that followed, the story of the final stand at Red Ridge became a legend told and retold as an example of bravery and sacrifice. Major Thompson and Captain Mitchell's legacy lived on, inspiring future generations to remember the importance of courage, cooperation, and the unyielding spirit of those who fought for freedom. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more delightful stories.